So
Yes, we have a quorum.
call meeting order at 5:35. And you have, Amanda, you have the attendance of everyone?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, minutes to approve from September. Could I have a motion? Move by Tally. By Tally, move to second.
I'll second.
Elaine Daly seconding. Any corrections? All in favor? Aye. Great, thank you. Okay, Ginny and Delicato, are you online? I don't hear her. She pops up in a minute.
She's actually out of town.
Oh, okay. Good, very good. So we have her report.
It's on a report.
Yeah. Oh, it is? I'm embarrassed to say I haven't read it. I just got it.
Hey,
I should have just got it, but I did. But it said that she was out of town. But in any event, are there any questions for Jenny that we can pass on to her? Seems pretty straightforward with the working on. Okay, good. So Jim Orman, I know, is out of town as well, and his report is pretty straightforward. I talked to him about it, and he didn't have anything he particularly wanted to like. If anyone has questions, though, we'll pass them along and make sure that they're answered. So does anyone have any questions for our treasurer? Mary Beth, Lisa, are you online?
I am.
So we have your report. Thank you very much, including the everyone who sent the third quarter financials. So let's, well, I'll just turn over to you and start with financials. So just, we have your report. Are there things you'd like to highlight or talk about specifically?
No, I think the report's pretty self-explanatory. I guess the only thing I would like to say is just keep in mind that fixed asset piece. That's a big undertaking right now. I know that Amanda's been reaching out to all of you about the devices that are on the legislative list. We're really trying to get this accurate, but it's also going to be an important transition as we go through. The fixed asset software we currently have does not make us compliant with GASB 87. So we're going to be kind of under a lot of pressure to get that GASB implemented by the end of the year. I think you all are aware we submitted a proposal for funding for new software to replace what we currently have. And the project we're doing now is to try to get those fixed assets accurate before we transition to something else. That being said, I did send out third quarter financial reports. Amanda, do you want to share the summary of reserves? So this is just kind of a summary of where we stand as far as reserve funds or restricted funds as of September 30th. We do have some pretty healthy reserves. One of the things I wanted to point out here is the building repair reserve. We have spent a good chunk of that. So you'll see kind of midway down the page, the 510,000. That reserve, I believe, started at $1 million. So, we've spent a good chunk of that. I think that reserve, if we do something different with the building, it would be an opportunity for that reserve to grow. But if we're not going to do something with the building, you may have to consider or might want to consider putting additional funds into the repair reserve. It kind of is dependent on the age of our building. And obviously right now, Gary's had to do some repairs. So just kind of something to think about as we go forward. But otherwise, I think our reserves, we have, a strong building capital reserve that would be for a construction kind of project. And then the highway repair reserve, that's kind of for fixing roads, et cetera. So both of those reserves are pretty strong at this point. Questions on that part?
Question here, Elaine Daly?
I guess I'm just curious, if the building repair reserve could potentially repair any building we own, old historic post office, Hardenberg, not just the county office building, correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Add to that reserve, now's the time, or is it the time of the budget that we would make some of those decisions, or at any point in time, how does that work if we were going to?
So initially, when that was established, it was established after we got our audit report and kind of figured out where we were financially as far as cash flow goes. But I think that, you know, as a governing body, I think that it's important to look at, you know, and talk to Gary about what he anticipates those needs might be. It's almost like a capital planning kind of thing. And, you know, he should have, you know, a good idea. You're looking for those bigger projects like windows, roof, HVAC, those kinds of things that might be a bigger project that you might look to fund. You know, I'm not saying that you have to, but we might be in a good place cash flow wise after the end of this fiscal year. And so you may want to consider putting funds in that, or you might say, no, we're going to fund it out of our budget. I mean, that's something that you guys have to kind of think about, but I just wanted to point it out because, you know, just like your home, repairs are needed for all of the buildings, and that maintenance can get kind of pricey. And we've kind of, not that I'm saying we've spent it frivolously, but we have spent a lot of that money, about half of it already. So just something to think about as we go forward, since we're in a stronger cash position.
There is a laundry list of things that Gary put in his request that would.
Yeah, that's a different request, to be clear on that, but yeah. But
those would
but
be
to
like-
answer your question, historically, we have funded our reserves after the audit, based upon the closed audit.
Just the first quarter of next year,
Yeah, that's when we've done it historically.
and you sort of know where
Yeah,
you're
we can
at.
do it at any time, I guess, legally, right, Chris? Anytime we want to do it, but what we've always done up to this point, we've only been looking at reserves for a few years, but it was a way we actually done. On the side, what we've done, when we've added to those historically is, once the audit report's done, we look at the final conclusion, and we move money to the reserve accounts. And we can't do a budget based upon anticipation of paying out of reserves.
My only point was, there are a lot of requests that Gary had put in that are anticipated needs for building repairs. He put it in ARPA requests, but they could be capital
They could be.
expenses as well.
Mr. Vitale.
I love to agree with you, Keith, but I'm going to disagree with you now, only because I think we can safely put money into these reserves anytime right now, because at this point in time, we're getting much better, not the best, but we're getting much better, I would say, budget status reports, or, you know, financial reports, whereas, you know, 7 years ago, we got on this where we didn't have a clue where we were.
Right.
And so I think with the information we're getting now, I think it would be safe for us to do it anytime between now and.
Well, now we're going to, don't disagree with me. I believe what I said was, we can do it legally, we can do it anytime, right? Yes, historically, here's what we've done.
Right. Yep. I just have to play with words.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, any other questions or comments? If people have not had an opportunity to look at the third quarter financial, I would encourage you to do so. We began this as a result of, in response to a request by the legislature, so we knew where we were with the budget. What our director of finance has done is put together the pretty extensive accounting that compares last year with this year, and then explains any variance in very few words. So it gives us a good, I think anyway, it gives us a good idea not only of where we are, but if there are any significant variations from last year from the budget, what explains that, which is exactly what we do. So as you look at that, the other thing I've asked, if there are other things that people want in that report, let me or the Mary Beth know, and actually if they can be added, they'll be added. well, if you're such a mind. I am, so I thought it was very, very helpful, and I want to thank you for it.
Thank
So-
you.
Any other
So-
questions? All right, I didn't mean to interrupt, go ahead.
Go ahead,
So
Mary
as far as, I'm sorry, Elaine.
Beth. I just said, go ahead. We're having hard.
Oh, okay. So as far as the other report, I don't know if you want to share that, Amanda, but the third quarter report, it is very difficult. Some of the grants or funding that we have to, state aid funding that we have to voucher probably is not, it's very hard to keep it as a flat, like we know we've gotten 9 months worth of revenue. So we do try, if departments give us a copy of the voucher, we're definitely recording those as receivables. Sometimes the timing of payments or vouchering, depending on what's going on in departments and that kind of thing, is not flat. So you'll see a lot of the analysis kind of shows that, timing of payments and vouchers is not the same. I think the big factor is sales tax is so high. I've talked to both Lynn and Jim. They're both projecting our sales tax numbers throughout the end of the year are going to be significantly over budget, which should put us in a good position as far as adding to the fund balance. And I think, when I looked through the revenue, obviously the timing stuff we're going to fix by year end by recording receivables and making sure all of our grants are vouchered and so forth. And so we're really starting to look hard at that now. We've done a lot of work to make sure that, we're really capturing that kind of stuff. So I think we're in good shape as far as that goes. And I think as far as a fund, we should end up significantly in the black, I would think, given the fact that sales tax is so high. We haven't seen a decline even for October. We've already recorded our October sales tax revenue, and that was strong as well. So I'm anticipating that some of the timing stuff will work out, and then we'll end up, with a number in the black that's fairly significant. We'll see who's right. Lynn says probably 27 million for sales tax, and Jim is saying 28. So we'll see. But anyways, the A fund is looking strong. There also, I did D and DM. The D fund and DM fund both are, they've been very busy at the highway. They've definitely completed more of the projects that they had in process. And I've talked with Kayla. She is up to date on her vouchering for state aid. So if you look, we're at like 75% of the budget for state aid in the D fund. And I think that's kind of right on target. We're going to have to look at the split of that for fund balance purposes at year end, but it's looking like we're on track. And certainly they've gotten a lot of work done. So that's a good thing. Questions or concerns on the reports?
I think there are any here. Is any of the legislators online, you have a question or concern that I've missed? Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Colleen Lombardi's in training. Yeah, and so she's not here. We do have her report. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but if there are questions, Tim to answer them, and I or someone else online notes. If not, then I will communicate them with her and get an answer. Is that a question? Okay, Ben has a question.
I guess my question is regarding the report. We're probably going to be getting a brand new person, director of human services, human resources. Is this the report that we want to continue getting or not? Personally, if you got this information, if there was an issue and you wanted this information, you had it, great, but for us to get it every month, it really doesn't do anything for me. But I don't know how other legislators feel about it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I
Where's can't hear him.
We lost audio to Chambers.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can
All
hear
right.
you online, but I can't hear Chambers.
Copy that.
if we're increasing or where we stand, and we can do that once every 6 months, and the resolution said it was supposed to be a report presented.
Okay, why don't we do this then? Because I don't think anyone objects to that. We'll ask our attorney, the resolution, or Amanda, and see if it had a specific time, every month or whatever it was. If it doesn't, then I would suggest we go quarterly, because that's when we're doing the other stuff. We're doing a quarterly financial, we're doing quarterly purchasing and so on. And it's easy to remember that way, consistent.
My point is really that, when a new person comes on board, it would be helpful if they knew what we were looking for rather than.
Well, and I think that's an excellent point. What we probably ought to do is when the new person's on board, first things is whoever's chair of this committee at that point, sit down with the person and say, okay, what do you think we need to know?
Yeah.
Let's have a discussion. And that's a really, really, really good point.
If I'm not mistaken, we did this because HR was going to be doing these outreach efforts to see if they could recruit broader. And this was supposed to be a way to see if there was any impact on their work.
Right.
That's really what this was, right?
Right. Just be done every 6 months.
I'm making that open separate, so.
Right.
Okay, any other comments or observations or questions? Okay, well, I guess we're ready for resolutions. So let us begin. Ways and Means. Ways and Means has two. One is a fairly standard cancellation of penalty interest on a property in the town of Brutus. The other is the closing of the capital H project. So is it okay to bundle these, or do people want them separated?
Second.
Okay.
Any questions? On favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Health and Human
Thank you,
Services.
sir.
Share Health and Human Services had 11 resolutions this month. They've gone through committee. They were submitted, and I offer them up HH1 through 11, unless someone would like any of them, one or any of them separated.
Okay, we have a motion to bundle these. Do we have a second?
Second, thank me.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you. Planning has no resolutions. Nice job. Paul. Sure.
Public 6 resolutions that have been through committee. I'd like to offer them as a bundle unless anyone would like any singled out.
Okay, we have a motion to bundle the public works. Move it.
Second.
Second, thank me.
Okay. Any discussion on any of these? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Mr. Vitale, Judicial and Public Safety.
Judicial Public Safety has 7 resolutions that went through committee, and one was added today. So I would, if somebody wants to make a motion to bundle JP 1 through 7, that'd be great.
Move it, Petrus.
Second, thank me.
Any discussion on JP 1 through 6? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. Now, JP8.
JP8 was added today, and it's a resolution authorizing the chair of the legislature, Cayuga County Sheriff, to extend the contract with East Hill Family Medical to provide nursing staff referrals for the jail medical division. I would make a motion for JP8.
We have a motion for JP8, a second.
Second.
Okay, does anyone have any questions, either clarifying or otherwise on JP8? I think everyone got this in advance.
I should have looked it closer. This is just a continuation for another period of time.
That's correct. So 3 months.
Hopes that you can get your problem remedied by then.
That's correct.
Well, one of us probably.
Yes.
Check it out. Yes. Small fighters.
So, okay, any other questions or observations? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to this? Okay, that was on uncomfortable meetings this short. Is there anything else that anyone would like to bring forward?
Very comfortable, so I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second. I didn't hear a second.
Second.
Objection to adjourning. We're adjourned. Thank you.
All I gotta do is speak up.
I'm not sure what happened. I should schedule an executive
That has to be
session
done.
right now.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yep, take care.